Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Very good afternoon. This is Tiramisu Ashrafi from Association of Muslim Professionals, and I welcome you all in this wonderful and informative session of employability training program on interview skills and techniques. I would now do a small presentation on AMP India Foundation. AMP India Foundation is a not-for-profit organization registered under Section 8 of Companies Act 2013 Government of India for providing voluntary social services to meet the needs of underprivileged individuals, that is, upliftment of the underserved and needy through educational and vocational training, employment support, medical relief, economic empowerment, student mentorship and guidance. Employment assistance center. The all of witnessing AI success is one of the most admirable national level NGOs striving for is education, employment, and empowerment, keeping in mind AI's core objective of supporting the underprivileged, promoting education, and creating economic empowerment. AI had launched a special project with the name of AIF Employment Assistance Cell during its initial stages of funding. Today, it's one of the core projects of AI. Our major EAC activities include job fairs, job drives, employability training programs in colleges, skill training company tie-ups, candidate mobilization, development process. Job fairs. Job fairs is one of the flagship projects of AIF, and we have successfully organized 43 job fairs till date. Every job fair has participation of minimum 50 companies and 2,000 plus candidates. AI has organized job fairs in the past in collaboration with Thane Police, Aurangabad Police, West Bengal Minority Finance Development Corporation, Andhra Pradesh State Minorities Finance Corporation, and other reputed NGOs. These government organizations and NGOs collaborate with AIF as local partners and take care of the local ground promotions in the job fair arrangements. AIF invites corporates like TCS, Asian Paints, Reliance Group, Cafe Coffee, the McDonald's, TVs, Tech Mahindra, and other reputed corporates in job fairs. Job fairs. Job fairs are similar to job fairs but are organized on a much smaller scale compared to job fairs. In a job fair, we typically invite only up to 2 to 3 corporates. ETP, Employability Training Programs. AIF's Employability Training Program or ETP has been developed to assist job seekers find the right job at the right place at the right time and to become the right fit in a present-day modern organization. Our ETP trainers are seasoned professionals who have in-depth understanding of employability training and committed to investing their valuable time, resources, and knowledge in growing the candidates. We team up with colleges in different cities and conduct ETPs there on a regular basis, usually once every month. Skill training company tie-ups and candidate mobilization. Skill training company tie-ups. AF has partnered with reputed skill training companies like Tata Trust, Whirlpool, Tech Mahindra Foundation, etc. We have also arranged skill training melas in Mumbai by inviting around 20 skill training companies to hire and train unskilled candidates who could not pursue their higher studies after 10th and 12th standard. Candidate mobilization. AIF has mobilized candidates to various skill development courses like AC technician, mobile repairing technician, and solar engineering, and the Skill India mission in centers all across India. Our achievements: 43 plus job fairs, 9 online job fairs, 275 plus job drives, 6 online job drives, 220 plus employability training programs, 28 online employability training programs. 100 plus mock interviews in colleges, 25,000 plus candidates placed in jobs. Organized 6 career fairs benefited 1,50,000 plus students. New initiative by AMP, EmpowerJobs.com, was launched on 6th December 2020. It's a unique job portal with comprehensive offerings introduced by AMP India Foundation for job seekers, especially those hit by COVID pandemic. Thank you very much. I would now welcome our speaker. I would now introduce our speaker for today, Mr. Mohammed Taher. Mr. Mohammed Taher Khan is an assistant professor, PG, Department of Commerce, the New College, Chennai. I would now welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Taher Khan, to take over this session from here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Association of Muslim Professionals and Islamia College. I deem it as a privilege and a great opportunity to act as a resource person for today's very useful, very important session webinar on interview skills, how to develop interview skills. It is the need of the hour. Many Muslims, many youngsters, they are looking for a job. They are job aspirants. Of course, there are many qualified Muslims and qualified young aspirants who are looking for greater job opportunities. But the only hindrance they face is how to face the interview, how to really win the interview. And that's the topic for today, how to prepare for the interview, how to excel in the interview. What are the various ways in which you can ace the interview? And if you really feel this topic is for you, then bear with me for another 40 minutes or 45 minutes where we will teach you all the techniques and tips necessary to ace the interview. With these few words, I'd like to welcome each and every one of you, all the faculties, prominent professionals, and dear young job aspirants, among which many are students, to this wonderful webinar. Now, without further delay, let us respect time and get started. Here it is. Here I am sharing your screen. Sir, may I confirm with you, is my screen audible? Is my voice audible and my screen presentable to you? Hello? Is my screen presentable? Sir, can you see the screen? Okay. So here we go. So the topic for today is a workshop on interview skills and techniques. If you win the interview, you win the job. You all agree with me? Winning the interview is securing your position for the job. There is no other way to think. That's the topic. And first of all, we need to know what is interview. Now, it is very obvious term. You know, interview is an arrangement where, and by interview, of course, there are many types of interview, but we are mainly focusing on job interview. We are not interested in any other interview. For this topic, we are narrowed down to only job interview. Now, what is this job interview? Job interview is conducted to find out the right candidate for the right job. The employer, the company, the organization, they want to know whether you, being a job aspirant, are the right person for the right job, whether you have all the potentials, all the capabilities to handle the role which will be given to you in that job. So in order to do it, in order to test that, in order to assess that, they are going to conduct an interview. What is interview? An interview is an interaction. An interview is nothing but an interaction in which the interviewer or the HR manager or the panelist, he will be asking you some questions about yourself, some questions about your experience, your education qualification, your personality, your subject knowledge. So he will be directing few questions towards you. You are required to take those questions and answer to the best of your knowledge and ability. If you convince the panelist member that you are really capable for the job, you're having subject knowledge, you're having excellent personality, you're fit for the role, then there's nothing that could stop you from getting the job. So this is the meaning of interview. Now many people think that interview is all about questions and answers. The interviewer is asking a question, the candidate is replying to that question. Question, answer. It's not. It's not so. Interview is much more than that. Your body language, your communication skills, how you behave, how you conduct yourself, how you sit, how polite you are, how much you respect others' opinion. There is a lot more. In fact, according to a survey, only 16% depends on your subject matter, your content which you speak. More than 38% depends on your attitude. And the remaining percentage depends on your body language, your gestures, your facial expressions, everything. So with this small introduction, let us see what are the techniques available. First, we will go to the types of interview. The next slide is first things. So before, see, this session is going to be very useful. It is the need of the hour. Because if you listen to this 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, and then we may have a question and answer session. We'll be addressing your queries and questions related to interview. But first thing is preface. That first you will apply for the interview, and after applying for the interview, right, you need to prepare for the interview. I will suggest that you start preparing even before you apply for the interview. That is a smart thing to do. Why do I say that? Why do I say that you need to start preparing before you apply? Because you need a resume or a curriculum vitae. You need a resume or a curriculum vitae to showcase your qualification, your skills, your talent, even before the employer sees you in person. Employer or the manager will see you in person only when you come for the interview, only when you attend the interview. Even before the interview, what will speak volumes for you? Your resume. So preparing a very good resume. This is a part of the preface interview. We have a preface interview, the interview when you're attending the interview, and after the interview, post phase. After you have attended the interview, what you are going to do, right? So I have divided in such a manner. But first up, resume. Of course, you can see employees consider resume as their holy thing. Like they will check the resume, each and everything. You think that we have prepared the resume, we have dispatched it through letter or post, whatever it may be. Now the employers won't see that, but actually they see. They even track your social media accounts. Even particularly in corporate sectors, many corporates, they track your social media accounts, your Facebook, your Instagram, to get an idea about your lifestyle, your hobbies, and other things. So be very, very smart. Take care before you apply for the interview. Cover up all those unnecessary things. Take them off from your social media accounts. Consider resumes and cover letters that are flawless. Formatting should be very perfect. If you don't know how to format, give it to someone who knows formatting. Make it perfect. Keep the headings perfectly. Like, first thing should be your objective in a resume. What is your objective? Why do you want to go for this job? Whether you want to fulfill your aspirations, whether you want personal development, whether you have some long term goal to be in this place. So, whatever it may be, a perfect vision. Vision is where do you want yourself to see after few years? Let's say after 2 years, after 5 years of getting the job which you're deciding for, where do you want yourself to see? What is your long-term vision, right? And mission is in order to achieve that vision, what are you going to do? What are you planning to do? Your mission, right? For example, as an assistant professor, my long-term vision is to inculcate values in education system, enrich knowledge, exchange knowledge, and to develop the education institution. That is my vision. Now, for mission, what I'm going to do? For mission, I will try to deliver more valuable seminars. I will try to attend more workshops, engage in academic activities, focus on innovative learning styles. This is my mission. So in order to achieve the vision, what are you trying to do? This should be the first thing. After that, everything your desired role. And one thing, my dear aspirants, one thing you should never forget to mention is your specialization. In which field you're specializing in. Suppose you say, I want to become an accountant. I am interested in an accountant job. Now there are various types of accountants. There is financial accountant, there is cost accountant, there is management accountant. Nowadays you have even HR accountant, human resource accountant. You need to clearly mention which accountant you are specialized in. And when you mention the specialization, you must have thorough knowledge in that subject. Otherwise, don't mention that. First thing, first criteria, you need to be interested. Second criteria, you should have good subject knowledge, sound subject knowledge in that. Suppose you are interested in becoming a graphic designer, right? You should mention exactly what is your specialization, what kind of graphics you are good at. So all these things resume should mean. Of course, then you have your academic qualifications, your relevant work experience, and other things heading by heading. Don't forget to mention your certificates, your achievements, your awards, your, if in case of academics, your articles, publications. This speaks volume in your resume, right? If your resume is strong, then you will definitely, I believe, it is my belief that if your resume is strong, then you will surely get a call from the interviewer very soon. And so focus much on your resume or curriculum vitae. One thing very important, never forget that if you have any references, good references, attach in your resume. Many people don't do it. References will connect you with the organization, right? And at the last, go for a signature, digital signature, normal signature, that will give some sort of affirmation that whatever you have mentioned in the resume is true. That creates some professionalism in your resume. So with this is the first thing. Another important thing is whatever you mention in the resume, that should be, you should be very well prepared with that. Why? Because the interviewers will take your resume in hand and they are going to prepare some questions based on your resume. So here it is, the resume. Based on this only, they are going to prepare maybe analytical questions, maybe factual questions, maybe they are going to test your stress levels. Stress management is again a very important topic. So we'll move on. See, there's so much to talk about, but within the limited time, I am going to give you some crispy things, some very important details. See, types of interviews, I am not going to take much time into this. There are various types of interviews. One to one. One to one is the interviewer the candidate. Just they are interacting. Interview is asking. No, there's no more than one person interviewing. Only one person will interview the candidate in a room or in an office or in the boardroom. Nowadays, am I audible, sir? Am I audible to you all?
Yes, 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 sir, you are audible, sir. We can hear you. But but there's some disturbance.
So here it is. So in the interview, there is some sort of test, and in that test, you will be tested with aptitude, with some sort of skills, abilities, right? And then if you pass that screening test, that aptitude test, you are going to be selected for the main interview, right? Then you have this phone interview is nothing but before calling you for the actual interview, they are going to take your interview on phone call. This saves the time of the interviewers, because you might be thinking, why this phone interview? It costs a lot for the interviewers to call you on their platform and take the interview. Before that, just a phone call, ask questions. If they think the candidate is worth it, they will call you for the main interview. Otherwise, they will just stop you from there itself. They won't call you for the main interview. Panel interview is the most common interviews. It is very common nowadays. There are list of panelists. There are number of panelists sitting in one boardroom, 5 to 6. Sometimes there are even 10. Sometimes there are even 14 panelists. So this panel members are sitting there, and they will call the interviewer. They will call the interviewers and throw questions from each and every angle. So the candidate should be able to manage the stress. One person asking you questions, it is not a very big problem. 5 to 10 people asking different questions from different sides, then they will see how the candidate is answering all the panels. Then group interview. Group interview is very technical, or I should say, it is testing your group abilities, like working in a group, how well you're coordinating with each other. They will ask you to sit as a group. They will give you some topic or some case study. You have to solve that case study and give some tips, suggestions to solve the problem. Okay, you have to coordinate with the other group members. You have to respect others' opinion, and then you have to see how well you are contributing to solve the problem. This is called group interview, and this will give an insight to the interviewers to see how well you are managing all the issues and problems. Technical interview, they will give you one particular task, technical task, to test your subject knowledge, practical knowledge. Suppose you're going for the post of a software engineer. So what they'll do, they will ask you to fix a problem, right? They will give you a practical technical problem in computer, and they'll ask you to solve in front of them. This will give them an idea that you know very well about how to solve software issues practically. This is technical interview. Then, of course, nowadays, due to COVID-19 pandemic, you all know much of the interviews are online. Even college admissions are online. Even when you are going for admissions in college, you need to attend some interviews, right? Even those interviews are online. But we are talking about job interviews. So this in kind of interviews, video or Skype, even Zoom interviews are also nowadays very common. So what happens in such interviews? You are tested with your concentration level, because in online, you or most of the students sitting here, they know very well, whenever they listen to a lecture or a class online, they get distracted very easily, right? So that is more common here. The next thing which is important is pre-interview preparations. So how should you prepare for the interview, right? How should you prepare for the interview even before the interview starts? This is very important, boys. Many people don't focus this. They only focus during the main interview. They don't have one of my favorite quotes, particularly to students. If you are if you are failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. If you're failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail, right? So this is this thing we should avoid. What we need to do is, most of the students, they don't do this. Most of the job aspirants, they don't do this. This simple thing is, you have to research the organization. What do I mean when I say research the organization? Researching the organization means you need to know what is the vision and mission of the organization. How many branches this organization has, right? What are the activities which the organization is engaged in? When was the organization founded? What are the special? Now, before this presentation, we had a beautiful small presentation from Association of Muslim Professionals, AM. They mentioned when AMU was established, what are their activities, what are the achievements. So why did they mention? Because they have some importance attached to it. Likewise, every organization has their own unique importance. So you need to know that. You need to know the data. Nowadays, you have online databases. Just with a click, you can know all the information about organizations. So very importantly, you need to have a research on various organizations, correct? This is one thing. Then another thing, you need to know who are the people interviewing you. Many people don't know that they can actually ask the panel members names, like who are going to interview me. You need to know the audience. Otherwise, there's no use of getting interviewed. If suppose, why many people will ask me why this is important. Let's say you're applying for the post of technician. You are applying for some technician post. Let's say electrical technician or whatever technician. Now, suppose the person there, if the person interviewing, if he is an HR manager, what he would have done? He would have done MBA to get into the post of HR, right? So he will not know about the technicalities of your profession. So when you answer with hard words, complicated words, the role related specific jargons or the role related specific technical things, then that HR manager may not understand, because he is not into that field very deeply. On the other hand, if you come to know that a technician manager is going to take your interview, then you can answer the technician manager with jargons, technical terminologies of your language, computer programming language, or technical language you can use. That will not be a problem. So knowing your interviewer matters the most. Ask for further advice. You should go on to your to the context, see, much of the success in any profession, let me tell you honestly, any profession, much of the success depends on your contacts. If you develop good contacts with people, you will be able to get insights about the company in which they are working. How how is the environment there? What is the work culture? What is their policy? So if you get a sense of how they act, what policies they use, so if you know whether there is a seniority level followed there, whether there is some sort of corporate culture there, you will get an idea. You can implement those ideas while you're facing the interview. Needless to say, be on time. Don't ever be late to the interview. In fact, I would suggest go one day before the interview and check your destination. How long does it take to travel there? Whether you have all the facilities there. Take the copies of resumes, certificates, your publication, but don't overload. Just take what is important in just one file. If you take too many things, it will look like an disorganized thing. Dress for the occasion. Now we'll come to the dress in the next slide. Plan ahead. Obviously, first impression is the best impression. According to a research study, the interviewer makes up his mind. 70% of the interviewer makes up his mind whether to select you or not based on your first impression. The moment now, when I started this presentation, what idea did you get? The presentation will be good or bad. Initially, you would have got some idea. When I started speaking the first few sentences, you will get an idea. This presentation looks good. He's speaking well. So you will get that idea. So first impression is the best impression. Say likewise, even in the interview, if you go for that first impression, that initial 10 seconds to 15 seconds matters the most. The way you walk in, the way you politely communicate, the way you smile, the way you confidently sit, it gives an idea to the interviewer. He is the guy for the role, right? And minimize distractions. Now, many people, they take their phone, they get calls, all the best, good luck, this, that. And what happens? They get distracted. So just keep that electronic devices minimal. Very important calls, attend, right? Simply don't go on scrolling, going into social media, and you may even forget to switch off your mobile while you are in the interview, and it will be very awkward when the phone rings during the interview, right? So never take your electronic gadgets inside. Even if you take your mobile phone, please switch it off. Now, dress for success. As you can see, what are the formal dresses required for the interview? Dark suit or formals. If you don't have a suit, there's nothing to worry. Just take a very good formal dress with a tie, if it is there, right? A good formal shoes. For girls, it is preferable to have a sari or modest dress, such as salwar kameez, and no accessories like tattoos, body piercing. This will give an impression to the interviewer that you are not committed to the job. You don't have a professional outlook if you have a tattoo, if you have a body piercing, because the mindset is like that. And don't go for with a minimal, don't go so many jewelries. This is not a marriage function. Go with, especially for girls, go with minimal jewelry, what is really required, and have a good perfume, groom your hair, minimal makeup, and you can have dark socks, which will match with your shoes. How to shake hands? Now, shaking hands is for two reasons. One thing is some sort of confidence to the employer that you are very well desired for the job. You're deciding for the job. You're interested in the job. You're engaged in the job. So while you're shaking your hand, have a grip. Okay, don't go for extreme hard shake up. Don't hurt the employer. Neither be too soft, showing nervousness. Your hand should match with the grip of the employer at least for 2 seconds, and you don't be the first person to take off your hand. Wait for the employer to take off his hand. Okay. In case if you're not comfortable, because some people may have some values and they may not be comfortable shaking their hands, then don't just come out of the interview without a good smile or without acknowledging their gracious interview. So give some sort of acknowledgement if you're, at least if you're not interested in shaking hands. So shaking hands is very important. Acknowledging the interviewers for their time is very important. Body language, of course, see, body language matters the most. I'll tell you why, right? Body language shows you much signs of, it will show you much signs like you're nervous or not. For example, while you're sitting there for the interview, when you go inside the boardroom, first ask, sir, polite, first have a smile, a gentle smile. When you enter inside, don't just go and sit on the chair. Have some discipline. Politely ask, may I please sit in, sir? May I please, may I please have a seat, sir? You see, if they say, yes, please have a seat, gently sit there, thank you. While you're sitting, don't slouch. Don't slouch. Don't be dull. Don't be too stiff also. This is also not the way. Neither slouching, neither slouching like this, leaning like this, neither too stiff. Some people like this. This is not the right way. Just be calm there. Okay. If you don't know what to do with your hands, you can go for your hands like this, right? Don't go with this kind of body posture, because this will create, this kind of crisping of hands will create an impression that you're nervous. You can keep like this. This is a sign of confidence, but don't keep like this. This will look like namaste. Just like this on the table, this will look confidence. If you don't know how to manage your hand movement, you can always use hand movements, but don't use too much hand movements. And with regards to the posture of the body, you cannot be too stiff, neither too dull or slouching. What you can do is, you can maintain a steady leaning position. Why do I say steady, natural, calm and composed leaning position? Because it will give the impression to the employer that you are engaged into the matter. You're engaged into the questions. You're interested in listening to the questions. And that is important. See the percentages, 67%, right? They lack eye contact. Eye contact is very important. Let me tell you one difference between eye contact and staring. When you make eye contact, it is not staring. Staring is something very odd, very awkward. Some people, either they lower their gaze, they don't look, or they lower their gaze, they don't look into the eyes of the interviewer, or they stare. Don't do both of the things. Be in moderation, balance yourself, look into the eyes. And one technique for looking into the eyes is, alternate your eyes from the eye, from the left eye to the right eye of the interviewer. Look into the left eye, little bit to the right eye, just the small eye movements. Look into his nose and then again back to his eyes. If there are a lot of panel members, then focus of the member asking you question. Look into the eyes of the members asking question to you. Focus there. But that does not mean you have to neglect other panel members. Most of the interview candidates, they will neglect, they will not see other panel members, only to those who is asking the question. Just have a calm look ear to ear. This is called pan. What is panning? This is very important. Even when you go for public speaking, you need to pan. Panning means you should not focus your peripheral vision. You know what is a peripheral vision, right? Peripheral vision is looking directly to a number of people, and if you are keeping your peripheral vision in one place, you will only see the background of that place. But when you pan, when you slowly move towards your eyesight towards other panel members with a gentle smile, that will be very effective. But when the panel member is asking you question, focus into the eye of that panel member. Okay. Now, what are do's and don'ts? So first thing is, carry one item. Your shoes matter a lot. Many knowledgeable, wise interviewers, they check what shoes you're wearing. If you're wearing formal shoes, then they get an idea that this candidate is having a professional outlook. When you're sitting in the chair, it is better to sit angled if they permit you, because it will give you some sort of confidence. Have a perfect angle. Don't be too sideways. Don't be too straight. Just the little perfect angles where you can see everyone. Be confident. Okay. So being confident is the most important thing, and you all know this. You have to keep, you have to breathe slowly before the interview, and you have to believe. I'll come to this at the last. Okay. Tell me about yourself is one of the most important common question. While telling yourself, you need to mention all the professional things, not your personal things. Sir, I like playing cricket, sir. My hobby. Either people open up too much, or they are very shy, just they keep very formal, like, my name is Mohammed Taher, I work here, I studied here, that's it, I'm interested in the job. That's it. They don't go with further important things. Or they keep it too casual. Sir, I like cricket, I have too many hobbies, I listen to music for relaxation. Like, this is too casual, too formal, too casual. Tell me about yourself from the point of view of the job, from the point of view of the work in which you are interested in. First, introduce yourself, a formal introduction, name, your education, how much experience you are having in this job. If you are not a fresher, if you are a fresher, where did you study? Please mention if you have done any assignments related to the job, any assignments, any internships, any project work. If you have done masters, MCom or MBA, most of you will have some project work. Mention that project work, and mention and relate your project work to the work you are deciding for. Tell them why you are interested in this job. How did you get the interest in the job? Be specific. Don't drag. Don't take 5 minutes to introduce yourself. Just 2 to 3 crispy introduction, up to the point, very useful introduction. It should give a sense to the employer that you are the person they are looking for, because of your commitment, determination, because of your interest towards the work. So be specific. If you have some interesting story in the sense, not personal stories, work related stories, like you went to this company for internship, there you found that this was the method, then you came to know that this company was adopting this method, that is why you have applied for the position in this company. So some work related story, something interesting you can tell, something about your work experience you can say, your professional acknowledgements you can put forward, your contributions to the job, your exposures related to the job you can tell, your achievements, all this. But many people don't say this. They just say, my name is Mohammed Taher, I have studied here, that's it, it's over. So that is not going to create any sort of good impression. 10 most common interview questions, you can read it out. What do you know about this organization? I told you before, you need to do research before applying for the job. Why do you want this job? What is the necessity for this job? You must say that I want to expand I want to progress in my career, I want to achieve this, that. You can mention, but don't be overconfident. Be realistic. Don't be dishonest. Many people, they are very dishonest. They try to say things which they don't know, because they want to get selected into. They have the tendency, if I don't answer this well, I will not be selected for the role. But that's not the right approach, because factual questions, if you say something wrong, suppose the interviewer is asking you, are you good in French? We have many international clients who speak French well. So are you good in French language? Now you want to get selected for the role. So you just think, if I say I don't know French, they will not select me. It will create a bad image. So you say, sir, I know French, but I know a little bit of French. I don't speak that well, but I know little bit of French. Then they will ask you that little bit. The next question will be on that little bit French. If they ask you some phrase in French, and if you and if you stumble and if you falter down, then that will be very awkward. That will ruin your chances of getting selected, right? So tell things honestly. If you don't know, better to say don't know. If they ask you analytical questions, thought-provoking questions, then you can answer it. That is not a problem. But factual questions, you have to be realistic. You have to say things which you know, which you don't know. Be honest there. Just say don't. That will give a good impression, because even employers know that no one is perfect. No one is having the knowledge about everything. But have a learning attitude. Be flexible. Be adaptable. When I say flexibility, when I say adaptability, what is the difference? Flexible in the sense, you say, sir, I am open to working in the weekends. This words they will love. All the employees they will love. Of course, they may give you extra pay for that, but just be flexible there to impress them. Dress to impress, have a good formal outlook, body language to impress, flexibility to impress. I am ready to work in the weekends. I'm ready to move around. I will not. Now you may ask me, if I say that they will make me move around for the job, I'll tell you most of the jobs, they are not they are not so easy. Like they won't tell you that you are going to stay only here. They will make you move around. They will make shift. They will rotate you for shift. So instead of getting into that thing, you first itself you tell them that you're flexible, you're adaptable to all the circumstances, you are adaptable to learning, you are adaptable to changes. This is the very good work. You know Sundar Pichai, who is he? CEO of Google, right? And this person, he got selected in top class interviews because he was adaptable to changes. He always speaks about changes, adaptability, how to adjust ourselves to different situations. So do that. Then of course I have mentioned, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now again, this is a very tricky question. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Strengths everyone will say. But when they ask you weakness, this is a very catchy situation, very tricky situation. I'll tell you why it's a tricky situation. Because you know what happens here? If you honestly tell all your weaknesses, then the employer will know where you're lacking. If you don't tell your weaknesses, the employer will know that you're lying, because everyone has some weakness, right? Everyone is having some sort of weakness. So be very tactful in dealing with weaknesses. Just now, what is the solution? How to handle this kind of question? Go for a weakness which is not that grave, which is not too dangerous. Like you can say, sir, my weakness is that I take things too seriously. I take things, I get into things, I get too much committed. I don't have a proper work-life balance because I'm totally committed into work. And not having a work-life balance will also affect your mental health. So if you say that, they will know, okay, he's working. Just because he's working, he's not having a work-life balance. And then you have to immediately mention the solution that you're taking for that problem. You're saying, I am trying to make things little bit, I'm trying to focus on life also. I'm trying to stay committed to the work also. I'm overcoming this weakness, sir. I'm open to learning, sir. If I don't know anything, I'm learning. So you have to cover up the weaknesses. You have to mention the weaknesses, not weaknesses that are negative. Like I said, having a lacking work-life balance, or lacking, you are getting too much committed into things. That is also a problem. You are going for a perfectionist approach. You're trying to be very, very perfect. Don't trying to be too perfect will waste time, right? That is also a problem. Because time is money for corporates. For many of the employers, time is money. So if you're wasting time in being perfectionist, then that is also a problem. But it is a good thing only because you're being perfectionist in work. So cover up the weaknesses, right? And then, do you like working in teams? Yes, coordination is very important. No matter how much you know, how much knowledge you have, if you can't present it, if you can't coordinate with other people, then it's a very big problem. Star method, you have to apply. What is the star method, boys? Star method is very easy. What was the situation? This is basically for people who have left one existing job and they are trying for the new job. First is S stands for situation. What was the situation your previous employer faced? Right? Every employer will face some sort of difficulty, lack of resources. They may not get the desired target, sale target. So first assess the situation. What task were you involved in that situation? How did you handle that situation? What were the efforts you took to solve that problem in that particular situation? So that A stands for action and R for results. Because if you show the result, all the employers are interested in outcome. Sir, I studied this. I was engaged in this. That doesn't matter. What is the outcome? What is the result? Did you produce positive results working in that situation? Did your outcome of being a manager or that position employee was really effective? That is what matters the most. So adopt STAR method. Then many of them don't know what questions you don't ask questions related to, sir, what is my salary pay going to be? What is my salary package? Whether I will get some sort of perky sites, perks, benefits, extra benefits, traveling allowance, lunch allowance. Don't ask this kind of question. What questions you can ask at the end after getting interviewed? You can ask certain questions politely. You should ask. In fact, why? Because this will show that you are interested in the job. If you just after most of the panelists, after completing the interview, they'll ask you, before you're leaving the interview room, they'll ask you, do you have any questions? At that time, you should not say, sir, I don't have any questions, thank you. First, you should ask questions like, what is the role? Is there any opportunity for me in this organization? I'm interested in this. Can you give me this role? I'm committed to develop myself. I'm going for career progression. So if you tactfully ask certain questions, which will direct your interest, which will show your interest, reveal your interest towards the employer, then the employer will think that you're engaged in the job. And employers need people who are committed, determined, and who are going to give their best to the job. So answering tips, maintaining eye contact, and other things I have already told you, right? And be continuous and professional. Unprofessionalism is important, discipline is important. And finally, never say these things. Never criticize your previous employer. Suppose you're going to the new company for an interview. They'll ask you, why did you leave the previous job? What made you leave the previous job? You should not say that my employer was not nice to me. He was very, very egoistic. He always made me do extra work. He gave me less pay. Don't complain. That is over. Past is past. Think about the present. If you complain about the previous employer, ex-employer, then the current employer, what he will think? He will think that, oh, he is complaining about his ex-employer. He will also complain about me tomorrow. So that way, what he will do, he will not select you. So never complain. You just say that you left your job because you wanted to progress in your career. You wanted new challenges, new opportunities. Say something positive there. Okay, never complain about your ex-employer. Never be to the interview very, very early also, because that will create a problem, an obligation on the part of the interviewers to conduct the interview. Take your time, be on time, maybe 15 to half an hour before, but don't be 3 hours before, very early. Go and sit there and keep asking the receptionist when the interview is going to start, being nervous there, because I'll tell you one secret. The receptionist who is sitting there, he or she will tell each and everything you're doing to the, and you think that receptionist is different. No, receptionist is secretly passing on the information about the candidates to the employer. So never create a ruckus. Sit calmly, wait for your turn. So the job is one of the several for which you are applying, and biggest mistakes made in interview is you don't ask questions. Never be late to the interview. Don't go for textbook answers. No one is interested in listening to your textbook answers. Current affairs. Please read Hindu newspaper business. If you're opting for some profession in business, then read Hindu newspaper or any good quality newspaper, business standard, business line. Get updated with the business latest advancements and developments. If you're applying for technology role or technology post, then go for all the updates in that field. Whatever field you need to get updated in the current affairs, that will boost your chances to a significant level. So don't rely only on textbook answers. Get updated. Don't be unprepared. There's a big difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is, I will do my best. I will do my best. I will answer the question to the best of my ability. I will perform well. I'll be in a positive mindset. What is arrogance? Arrogance is, who are they to ask me questions? I only know better. They are simply sitting there because of their experience. I have much knowledge than them. I am the very best. That kind of attitude won't help. Be polite, respect the opinion. Even though the opinion of the interviewers might be wrong sometimes, because no one has knowledge about each and everything, no one is perfect. Don't immediately tell them, sir, you are wrong. This is the right thing. What I am saying is right. I have proof. That will hurt the ego of the interviewer. Never do that. Try to have a diplomatic approach. If the interviewer is saying this is right, then just agree with it. If the interviewer is saying this is what I'm saying is correct, just politely accept and say, sir, with due respect, I think this is right, sir. Politely you give your opinion. That will give a good impression, good rapport with the interview. Don't be arrogant. So having said that, I will say one thing at the last. Be smart, have the location in advance, get practical advice. Never think that the people who are having experience are useless. It may be if you're going for a work, get experience, get practical advice from the employee who is working there before, from your manager. If you're in some teaching profession, get practical advice from HODs or principals or vice principals. So this practical advice will matter a lot. This will not be taught in the books. It is based on experience. Have a good body language. And at the last, I would say one thing, and everyone should do this. Confidence. It matters a lot. All the job aspirants. I know you know this fact very well. Everyone would have told you. But let me say, what we do is, when we have an interview, we start doubting our abilities. We say, what if I don't answer the questions tomorrow very well? What if I end up in like this? What if the environment is like this? What if they ask me the tough questions? What if I don't have a good body language? Don't be in a negative mindset at all. I'll tell you why you should not be. Please do a small experiment with me. Please take your hand, take a deep breath, keep your hand here, and tell yourself that I have managed so many difficult situations before. I can answer each and every questions very well. I can answer to the best of my ability. Even if I don't get selected in this job, after doing my best, I can always go for the other job. So let's do my best. Give my best shot. Be very natural, calm, composed. Do this. I'm the best. I'm in positive mindset. If I can do it, I will do it. Right? This confidence will help you a lot. It will be, many people don't do this. Many people don't pray, don't meditate. They just go just like that. Don't do that. Have belief in Almighty, believe in yourself that you can do your best and give your best shot with all the preparations. I think in the next job, you're definitely going to be selected, right? So with this, I'm telling you the last advice, an extra tip I would say, just follow the interviewers Follow up after the interview. Don't just interview is over, wrap up and sit at your home. Send an email saying thank you for the opportunity. Being grateful is so important. PETS, pets. Please, excuse me, thank you, sorry. These are the words very integral for being a gentleman. Be a gentleman. Follow up. Say thank you for the opportunity. I am very grateful to you. If I am not selected, please give me the feedback why I am not selected, so that you can evaluate for the next interview. But if you are following up, the interviewer will get an idea that you are interested. Don't follow up again and again. Just 2 or 3 times. Like after finishing the interview, in 24 hours or 48 hours, you send an email. After 1 week, again send an email. So this is also very important. So with this, I hope, inshallah, if you follow these small important tips, small matters makes a lot difference sometimes. So body language, dress code, being punctuality, discipline, first character, your subject knowledge being updated, getting practical advice. If you follow all these things, I hope, inshallah, in the next job, you are going to be selected in the interview. I'm open to questions. If there are any questions, I'd like to answer. I request the organizers to take over. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Taher. So we'll end up the session here. There are no questions from participants. So
If there are any
end up
questions,
the
I would
session.
like to take.
Sure, sure. If there would be any question regarding this session, so I would personally, get you the WhatsApp, then you can answer there. But now there's no question in the section.